Varsity Blues, and it all came back to me because we were like, why was this movie so big? And like,
why
and
was
like,
it so
like,
big?
why was it
Tell me.
So it all came back to me when I saw the opening production credits and that MTV Films logo came up, and I was like, oh, MTV Films, of course. So this movie was like it's weird to think of it now because it's like basically like Friday Night Lights meets Porky's, but like this was the TRL movie, Total Request Live era. MTV. It was the biggest thing in the world. If you went to high school in the 90s, no matter how cool you were, I thought it was pretty cool. I still came home every day and watched Carson Daly Total Request Live. It was the end of an era. It was it was like the American Bandstand or whatever, Top of the Pops. It was like the last of its kind. Didn't know that at the time, but so this movie got pushed hard on TRL. Got so much just like free marketing on TRL. The soundtrack, Foo Fighters, et cetera, right, was like they tied that in. It was just a perfect like marketing tie-in movie for MTV, and it just played across all MTV's platforms like for weeks. This movie was number one at the box office for 2 weeks in a row and ran in theaters for 3 months. So this was a big hit. And James Van Der Beek was about a year. Dawson's Creek premieres in 98. So a little bit of the shine has come off, but he's still pretty hot. He's still pretty hot in 1999 coming off of Dawson's Creek superstardom. And so that I think is why, because I do remember it being like, and then that poster where they're all in the truck and like Paul Walker's in the bed of the truck with his hat, and like this movie for a 90s TRL teen was sold to us as an iconic movie, and we all kind of bought it as an iconic movie.
Okay, that explains it, because when you watch the movie, there's no reason for its iconic status. I'm not saying it's bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward.
Yes.
And I have no idea why it has this like everybody knows this movie, and it has not giant cult following, but like certainly has a cult following and has been part of our culture for 25 years. I think I'm sitting down to watch some, important 90s moment. This is just it's also just straight as an arrow.
Yeah, and it's like not the 90s. Like nothing about like out of all the movies we've watched, this movie could be Porky's. It could be an 80s sex comedy.
Well,
it doesn't play as like 90s.
What's
beyond
90s,
the soundtrack?
What's 90s about it is the offensive scheme. Because now we're finally incorporating.
Okay, here's what I liked about the movie. I liked how it presents high school football as like hellish, as like the ninth circle of hell, as a way of like destroying kids' lives before they even start, in order to like keep the dreams of these sad adults alive and keep their careers alive. I love how evil John Voight is. John Voight is like football personified. He's like the walking embodiment of CTE.
He's the meanest guy ever.
He's the meanest guy ever. He wants you to sacrifice your body and your mind just so he can win another district championship.
He threatens children so he can win the football game.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And he's very good at being terrible.
Yep.
So I liked that. I like how football is presented. It's not a feel-good football movie at its heart.
No, it's
even though it has like they win the game at the end thing. It is very dark in the way it presents high school football, and I like that a lot. There are other scenes though that like are almost like borderline spoof. Like there's a scene that could have been out of a scary movie where there's a really bad character, and I'm not blaming the actor, but there's a really bad character in the movie called Billy Bob, and it's just a lot of fat jokes about an offensive lineman, and a lot of like he's dumb jokes, even though he's probably like literally struggling with like early onset CTE brain injuries because he's been
not
like
kind
hit in
of.
the head
He has
so
like
much.
many
He
concussions.
is,
Like he has, whatever. He passes out and almost dies. Like he could have died. This heavyset gentleman who's good at the O-line.
He's gonna die in a year,
treated poorly,
or like shoot up a Walmart because his brain's gone or something. Like, and so like, but the movie itself, not just the people in the movie itself just treats him as a punchline the entire movie. The first time we see him, he's driving to school in a truck and literally chugging syrup.
He's got a pet pig,
and he's a pet pig, and this and that.
And he's dumb, and he drinks too much. And he throws up.
The people in the movie and the movie itself like care about him, but not to the point where they take him seriously as a person.
Wait, hold on. That's true, but that's two things that aren't true. Number one is the scenes with him and when John Voight's manipulating him to keep playing is presented very obviously as John Voight's being mean to this nice dumb
But that's
kid.
true about every character in the
fair, fine. The second thing is that the team does rally around him and others at the very, very end.
True, within their means. But like with all the facts we have about this character, there needs to be like a large scale like like this character needs to be like taken like he needs to be like he needs help. He needs like therapy and like medical help. And like this character literally just will, like he'll like pass out for nothing.
It's
like,
so sad.
He's about to die. This character is about to die.
Sad.
And so he's like cared for sort of, but like he's just presented so...
Well, eventually they all stand up to John Voight together because John Voight's
yes.
physically damaging all of them and mentally damaging all of them. So James Van Der Beek leads the charge. They stand up for Billy Bob and stands up for all the guys.
Van Der Beek is fine. His character's a little confusing though, because like he does, like Joe said, he like reads Vonnegut when he's supposed to be reading the playbook, and he doesn't really care about football. But then he's also like incredible.
He's
at
a
football.
savant. He's a savant.
Like if you know football, like it's not just about like athleticism. Like he is like a savant in terms of like the playbook and calling audibles, and it's like
he's calling the
just
craziest,
like
Chip Kelly adjacent offense with the most like at this point in time radical offensive scheme where he's imagine the backup goes into the game and he's like, I want 5 receivers on my left and pull an audible and you 3 this, and he starts calling trick plays, and then John Voight's like, hey, what are you doing? And then I'm like, hey, what are you doing? James Van Der Beek, stop. And then at one point, do you mind if I get sorry? At one point John Voight's like, hey, listen to me, James Van Der Beek. Here's the plan. We're going to do my way today, or else your ass is grass. We're going to run the ball, and we're not going to give it up with stupid plays, and we're going to just like, we're going to get behind Billy Bob, and he's going to make a hole, and we're just going to get downs, and we're going to use the clock correctly, and we're going to win the game by correctly running the ball in the last 8 minutes. And James Van Der Beek's like, no way, asshole. But he gets back out on the field. He's like, fuck that old sack of shit. All right, I want 5 guys over there, and I want all the linemen to like run backwards and then run forwards, and I'm going to throw you the ball. We're going to do a lateral pass, and we're going to win the game. And I'm supposed to be cheering for this guy. I was like, honey, clock management is 75% the battle in football, Jonah, especially in the last 8-9 minutes of the game.
This is the first thing we said to each other was like, as evil as John Voight is, as irredeemable and cruel as he is, he had a good game plan.
He won 22 state championships in a row. There's a statue of him outside the stadium for a reason. The guy knows how to win a fucking high school football game. You run the ball.
Yeah.
It's not fucking rocket science. You control the clock, you run the ball. You don't throw an irresponsible pass and then the play is to lateral it to the O lineman that you've already established has tremendous CTE.
They are doing plays that like literally in the entire world only Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce can execute. They're like doing that play without any preparation.
You wouldn't do these plays on Madden.
Look, John Voight's evil. You should also follow his game plan and not James Van Der Beek's
knows how to
game
win
plan.
A football game.
I would say more than any other movie we've watched, maybe with the exception of Cruel Intentions, this one feels like it lives permanently in 1999. It doesn't really feel like it kind of traveled well into the future or sort of got better with age. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not even saying it's offensive, really. It's just a time capsule of an MTV movie from the late 90s with James Van Der Beek. It lives forever in time in a little glass case in 1999, and that's fine.
Also because the stakes of the movie are so low, it couldn't be from now. Because nowadays every movie's like, if we don't do this one thing, the entire world will destroy. Like,
that's right,
whatever.
That's right.
But in 1999, all they kind of had to do was kind of win the game, which James Van Der Beek like kind of didn't really want to do. The last line of the movie after they win the big game is, "The day was ours, and no one could ever take it away."
That's right.
And then it ends.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that is preposterously low stakes.
I love it.
For one of the most famous movies of the year. Varsity Blues wasn't bad. Wasn't good.
Wasn't bad.
Kind of weird. Not distinctive football movie. Like, I don't know how it's. I bet if we looked up, like, no shade to whatever the publication is, 10 best football movies ever, like, you'll be seeing Varsity Blues on a lot of those lists. Do you feel that?
You will be.
You will be, is what I'm saying. Yeah, like,
you will be.
Which is so weird.
Well, it's
not distinctive in any way.
It's interesting because it's like it was like loosely based on the book Friday Night Lights. Not to the extent that the TV series was, obviously, but it was loosely based on that on that book, but it wasn't as interested in the minutia of high school football as that TV show, or in the kind of like realities of a game of gameplay.
Now I've seen Varsity Blues, and
Yeah.
I'm the better for it, I think.